From the outside, you can see some damage like this busted window, but then this window is busted, and that's because this father did everything he could to get his family out. Neighbor you hear yelling at the porch pirate says she saw them following a UPS driver. What she didn't see was her 10-year-old neighbor running from them. The bullet holes in this fence are labeled with letters. They go from A to Y. This one is I. That's over 20 bullets. Sean, you forgot to pack something in your luggage. I think it's me, because I'm ready to get to LA. I can't even describe how pumped up these people are in here, but I'm sure you can hear it and see it. Hey, it's lit in here. It's almost like double Dutch.
Down low. You're in.
Boom. So for over 2 hours, that fire has been burning. The assistant fire chief just got to the scene not too long ago. The estimated time is 10 a.m. and this side of the neighborhood or the street is without power, but then we see some lights on this side. So it sounds like I can still do a little bit of Sunday fun day today.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
That works for me.
Even Monday.
Oh. Yeah. Even better. One lucky person who I wish was me, instead they're in Maine, matched all 6 numbers. She says this wasn't the first time police responded to her home because of her son's mental illness, so she doesn't know why it ended the way it did. Nelson's attorney, John Persino, says what you're about to see in this video is the opposite of what officers say happened that night. He also says if it wasn't for this bystander video, there wouldn't be a case.
He slammed his hand on the ground. The guy ain't even moving.
A bystander's video shows the story of what happened to Mac Nelson. Nelson took these pictures after his encounter with Kansas City, Missouri police officers in August of 2022. A swollen eye, stitches, and scars.
He wasn't doing nothing to them.
But pictures weren't enough. John Paserno says no one would know what happened to his client, Nelson, without this video.
There was a false police report that had been filed, which claimed that he fell. And obvious from the video, you watch the video, he did not fall.
Records say Nelson was stuck inside a store off 55th and Prospect after an officer-involved shooting he was not a part of. When he was released from the store, he went on Facebook Live. At some point, he was recording a video in an area that was not secured by crime scene tape and was told to leave. Court records go on to say Nelson left, but police say he did not and was arrested. Paserno says while arresting Nelson, an officer knocked his cell phone out of his hand, then face-planted Nelson's head directly into the pavement. You can see an ambulance arrive shortly after.
It's going to be your word against the officers, and who do you think a jury is going to believe?
Nelson sued the police department and will now receive a $500,000 settlement. Paserno says the bystander video and surveillance video is the reason Nelson was believed.
We wouldn't have known that the police report had been falsified. We wouldn't have had any proof of that. We would have just had Mac's word for it.
Henry reached out to KCPD about the accusations and lawsuit and were told we are not able to make a comment on any details of that case because there is an ongoing review of the incident by the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office. Councilman Brandon Ellington brought the fire department out here to do building inspections. They also had smoke detectors because the councilman says that's an easy problem to fix. When you search Stonegate Metals Apartments online, it paints this picture. But inside some units, sounds of dripping water from a tenant ceiling tell another story.
So since I've been on the council, I've been hearing about it since at least 20.
For months, tenants have raised concerns to Fox 4 problem solvers about their living conditions at Stonegate Meadows. We've been out on the property and saw trash, even vomit in the common areas of apartment buildings, abandoned units, and missing or beeping smoke alarms.
So let's say I'm a HUD tenant or I'm on Section 8. I don't have to beg my landlord to fix my piping or to make sure my windows are caulked or to make sure my furnace works. No, I actually just need to go ahead and pull that trigger on them. And there's federal laws, federal guidelines, numbers to call.
Councilman Ellington says tenants need to understand their rights. Last spring, Kansas City's health department told Fox 4 it received dozens of complaints on Stonegate Meadows, many on wastewater, mold, and pests. Recently, Stonegate had 14 outstanding violations. 10 came in since the new year and are water related.
Now, once they switch companies, then that gives that leeway and that lack there of enforcement when it comes to healthy homes, etc.
Councilman Ellington claims managing companies get away with the lack of care by switching management teams. Thursday, the councilman was on property with the fire department while they inspected common areas of the buildings.
We will identify any fire violations that we find in the common areas, and we'll write it up and give property management 30 days to correct the fire violations.
Ellington says on First Fridays, the No More Excuses Coalition meets at soiree to explain the law, something he believes tenants at Stonegate can use. Working for You, we reached out to Congressman Emanuel Cleaver about Stonegate. He says in part, quote, "No one deserves to live under the conditions that have been reported." And the health department says the most recent water problem was because of a water line break during the cold snap. It says the apartment manager has been responsive and working to fix everything. We've tried to talk to the apartment manager and property manager, but have not received a response.